This is blasted out everywhere for anyone to see. And they are outright lying. They are, and now they've deleted it. We're getting reports, rumors, maybe well-sourced anonymous tips that Joe Rogan is either contemplating or has actually began a $30 million lawsuit against MSNBC. Here's what the suit allegedly claims: that they deceptively edited video of his very popular podcast to make it look like he was pro-Kamala Harris. In fact, he was saying the literal opposite. This is textbook defamation. And it's MSNBC. This is Comcast Universal that did this. Do you want to see the video that we're talking about? Let's do it. This is an Instagram reel, and it's segments of his podcast, the video version of his podcast. Take a look at what MSNBC represented that Joe Rogan had said about Kamala Harris.
She's going to win. No, she's not. She can win. She is a strong woman. She is a person who served overseas twice. She in a medical unit. So she was a congresswoman for 8 years.
Yeah.
She is a person of color. She's everything you want. She's going to win. No, she's not. She can win. They just want no Trump, no matter what.
All right. So you can see the headline there. Joe Rogan predicts Harris will win the presidency in November. And then the caption there at Instagram: Joe Rogan predicts a Kamala Harris victory in November, arguing that voters. Here's the thing. If anybody has a head on their shoulders, a brain between their ears, and actually has any sense of news or history, which I can't say for people who work at MSNBC, apparently, you could tell that there was something weird about that, because she said that she served overseas twice and she served in Congress for 8 years. And of course, Kamala Harris never served overseas, unless you call being raised in Montreal throughout her childhood serving overseas. Right? This is a woman who wants to be president of the United States, and culturally, she actually came of age from the age, I believe, of 7 to 17 in a foreign country, in Montreal, Canada, Quebec, province of Quebec, French Canadian. And now she wants to be president of the United States. That's weird. I don't think we've ever had that before. Somebody who, other than people who maybe were raised in military bases overseas, run for president, but not someone whose family voluntarily said, yeah, we're going to be Canadian for the next 10 years of our life. All right, set that aside for a second. It's clear Joe Rogan was not talking about Kamala Harris in that video. It's clear to anybody who has a brain on in their shoulders. Wait. A head on their shoulders, a brain in their skull. It's clear to anyone who knows what the hell is going on in American politics that Joe Rogan wasn't talking about Kamala Harris, except maybe the person who's in charge of the MSNBC social media account. That's bad. That's just an outright lie. Talk about deceptive. So who was he talking about? Well, this lady knows who he was talking about. That's Tulsi Gabbard. And he was talking about her. Now, Tulsi Gabbard pointed this out over the weekend, and she didn't raise the idea of a Joe Rogan lawsuit. She actually raised something, frankly, even more important: an FEC investigation, Federal Elections Commission. Look into this, because this is an outright deceptive, blatant act meant to help Kamala Harris. That's an in-kind contribution to the Harris campaign.
Not sure if you guys caught this, but MSNBC was exposed today for yet another set of lies. They deceptively edited together this video of different Joe Rogan comments to make it appear that he was singing the praises of Kamala Harris.
She's going to win. No, she's not. She can win. She is a strong woman. She is a person who served overseas twice. She in a medical unit. So she was a congresswoman for 8 years.
Yeah.
She is a person of color. She's everything you want. She's going to win. No, she's not. She can win. They just want no Trump, no matter what.
This is not reflective at all of the truth of what Joe Rogan said. And I think MSNBC has since taken this post down. But what's really serious here is that not only does Joe Rogan deserve an apology, there's actually something far bigger at stake here. This is yet another example of how MSNBC is working hand in glove with the Democrat elite and the Kamala Harris campaign to try to spread lies, simply things that are not true. So what this means is MSNBC is a for-profit corporation. They are helping Kamala Harris's election campaign. And what they are doing through their platform would qualify as an in-kind contribution to her campaign. It's worth a lot of money. The fact that they are doing this should require the Federal Elections Commission that manages campaign spending and campaign finance to require them to report this as an in-kind campaign contribution or to be punished for abusing their position in trying to use their platform that has nothing to do with journalism. It is purely a propaganda platform, and that they are using this in order to try to help Kamala Harris get elected. These people need to be held accountable for what they're doing, because otherwise they will continue to do this, continue to abuse their platform and their power to try to deceive the American people and help her get elected.
All right. So I'm with Tulsi that this is an in-kind contribution and the FEC should look into it. The idea of punishing MSNBC for using their platform this way, here's the thing. For-profit corporations can use their platform however they want. Just stop lying to us and telling us you're a journalistic endeavor, right? Punish them? Okay, here's how you punish them. Stop watching them. Move away from them. Divest from them. Make sure that your accountants don't invest in Universal Comcast. Cancel your Comcast subscriptions. Cancel any subscriptions you might have to a Universal or NBC product. You know, that's the sort of thing that you do to punish them. And by all means, stop trying to get your news and information from them. But I think you've already chosen in that direction. But it is a remarkable thing to see that something you would think with MSNBC has some level of NBC News standards and practices and editorial processes to go through something and say, yeah, that looks good. Okay, publish it. Hell no, apparently not. Or they're so stupid all the way up the chain of command that some editor, they deleted this post, but there's no explanation. There's no clarification. There's no apology. There's no retraction. There's no transparent explanation to the viewer to exactly what went wrong here. Well, we'll provide that. As Rush Limbaugh used to say, he doesn't require equal time. He is equal time. We in the center-right media, we are equal time compared to them, and we'll actually provide you all the information, facts, and context you deserve. We respect you that much. MSNBC does not respect their viewers or their followers on social media to handle the reality of what they just did. They're just going to try to delete it, disappear it, memory hole it, and make it go away. It's insulting, it's despicable, and it treats you like a child. We have respect for you. You deserve to see the truth. This is the entirety of what Joe Rogan had to say. By the way, I love Michael Malice's attitude in this whole thing, too. Just chugging his Diet Coke as this conversation goes on. Here, watch.
It all bothers me, the fragility of the human mind. You know, that so everybody forever was like, Kamala Harris is the worst vice president. She's the least popular vice president of all time. And then in a moment in time, all of a sudden she's our solution. She's our hero. Everybody's with her. All these social media posts about her. Try Googling a negative story on her. You won't find one.
So,
ta-da!
Okay, you've got me started, Officer Harris. So, they've been doing this live for years. So in 2019, our pal Tulsi absolutely nuked her in that second debate. And if you looked at charts at the time, she's kind of, Officer Harris is like doing okay. First debate, she comes out, Joe Biden, you're a racist. The Democrats were looking for an alternative to Bernie Sanders that wasn't Biden. She starts going up in the polls, right? Second debate comes out. Tulsi, being a good Hawaiian, knows how to roast the pig. Just completely slams her. Not only that, she has no counterpunch. She goes on Anderson Cooper and she's like, well, I'm a top tier candidate, so of course people are going to take shots at me. That's her answer. She immediately starts going down in the polls. It's that day. You can see it on the chart I have on my Twitter. All the articles at the time that did an autopsy on Kamala Harris's failed campaign didn't mention Tulsi once.
Yeah.
It was BBC, LA Times, Reuters, New Yorker. A guy from the Washington Post just did a piece looking back on her campaign. Didn't mention Tulsi either. They completely pretend it didn't happen.
Well, it just shows you that what they're looking for is not what they say they're looking for.
Yes.
Because she is a strong woman. She is a person who served overseas twice. She in a medical unit. So she got to see people blown up by the war. She was a congresswoman for 8 years.
Yeah.
She is a person of color. She's everything you want. All those things you want. But and yet you don't want her.
Because she's not for war.
Yes.
'Cause
Well,
not
she's
from your
also
mission.
just not willing to play ball. There's a game that's being played. And if you're like, hey, you're not supposed to move the ball. Like,
Yeah.
oh, look at this over here. Like, get out of here. You're going to up our game. It's not real democracy. It's controlled parties.
Now, see, I respect you. I love you. I know that you're smart. I know you're intelligent. You can handle the facts. You can handle the truth. That's the entirety of the Joe Rogan segment. Now, I want you once again, it won't take long. It's only like 30 seconds. I want, after seeing that entire conversation, Joe Rogan starting with the Kamala Harris conversation. And then it was Michael Malice who raised Tulsi Gabbard as the person who basically single-handedly brought Kamala Harris down during the 2020 Democrat run for the nomination. And then Joe Rogan reacted to Michael Malice bringing up Tulsi Gabbard. Now, look again. Now that you know the entirety of the truth, look what MSNBC did to that clip. Under the headline, Joe Rogan predicts Harris will win the presidency.
She's going to win. No, she's not. She can win. She is a strong woman. She is a person who served overseas twice. She in a medical unit. So she was a congresswoman for 8 years.
Yeah.
She is a person of color. She's everything you want. She's going to win. No, she's not. She can win. They just want no Trump, no matter what.
Man, I mean, that's beyond egregious. That is, you had to deliberately go into the Joe Rogan podcast, slice and dice, scrape it together, stitch it together, and then overtly lie to your audience, to the entire public. And understand, this is social media. So it's not just those people voluntarily tuning in to that, decrepit little cable station, MSNBC. No, this is blasted out everywhere for anyone to see. And they are outright lying. And now they've deleted it. Now, Joe Rogan, again, I have not seen anything officially from the Joe Rogan camp. If there's confirmation of this morning during the show, even Kevin will break in and we'll let you know that it is confirmed one way or the other. But there are rumors, and it is being reported that Joe Rogan is contemplating a $30 million lawsuit over this, and he 100% should. This isn't even close. And MSNBC deletes it with no apology, no explanation, no transparency. Those cowardly little peacocks over there. What should they do? They should say, here's what happened. Here's how it happened. Who's been fired for doing this? If you want to trust us as a news organization, we have to be completely 100% honest with you. And in fact, we are so outrageously transparent in this process about what happened so that we can earn your trust again. We're going to play you the entire Joe Rogan thing so you can see exactly what he does think of Kamala Harris and the fact that everything was saying about Tulsi Gabbard. That's what they should do. In fact, they should do it not just on the social media platform where this lie was presented, but they should do it every hour on their cable network to regain the trust of the American public. But of course they won't do that. Of course they won't, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They just need to do whatever they can to be the propaganda arm of the Democrats and now the Kamala Harris campaign. And the problem for us as consumers of the news, we're sitting here and we're left wondering what's real and what's not, what's true and what isn't, what can I believe and what don't I believe. And people wonder why the American public is so cynical and so divided and so at each other's throats when we can't even agree on basic facts. And we've got news organizations as august and revered with such a long legacy, decades, almost 100 years, NBC's been reporting the news in America. And they allow this to happen without any kind of accountability to you, the viewer. You know how bad things have gotten? Look at this. This guy saw a Washington Post and CNN contributor posting pictures of a Kamala Harris fundraising event in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. It's the Berkshires. I was just there this weekend. I was in Williamstown, drove right through Pittsfield. A lot of Trump signs out there, by the way, in Western Massachusetts, but there's also a lot of rich, wealthy, white, liberal elites who vacation out there in the summertime from New York. So, of course, that's where you go to get money if you're Kamala Harris. Well, a reporter posted pictures of what looked like a spontaneous rally for Kamala. Watch.
CNN just got caught using AI to try to make the crowds at a Kamala Harris event look bigger. Let me introduce you to Catherine Rampell. She works for the Washington Post and is a commentator on CNN. And this was the image she posted. He said, scenes from the Harris fundraiser in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Then people started noticing some little issues with this photo. And she said, getting spam claiming these photos are AI. Not sure why I'd use AI to create a crowd of people in downtown Pittsfield. Then people started zooming in. The is going on with that road sign? How does that happen? Someone explain to me how they can put their hands through the sign? And what language is this? Like, it's very obvious. This is all fake. Like, they tried to take a tiny crowd at her fundraiser and make it some big event using AI. We're now at the point that in the last 2 days alone, he caught MSNBC editing a Joe Rogan clip to make it sound like he supported Kamala Harris when actually he was talking about Tulsi Gabbard. Now we got CNN using AI to make it look like people give a about Kamala Harris. It has become very clear that the mainstream media is willing to lie directly to your face. It's up to you whether or not you're going to take it.
Well, he's right. And listen, by the way, I've gone and I've looked at all of these pictures. This woman still maintains she hasn't altered these photos in any way whatsoever with AI or otherwise. But when you look at these pictures and you zoom in, so many of the letters and words and even facial expressions are distorted. Can a digital camera do that because you've been shooting from so far away, or is she shooting through a screen window or something? She does claim that she and the other people in the media have been put into some sort of office and they're only able to take pictures of the small assembly. Actually, it's not even that big of a crowd out on a corner in Pittsfield, Massachusetts over the weekend from inside a little office window. And she's taking the pictures through a slit. So maybe that distorted. I don't know. The problem is we, the American people, for the last, 10 years now, or really ever since Donald Trump came descending down that gold escalator at Trump Tower, we have endured lie after misrepresentation, after distortion, after fake news, after doctored video, after Russian collusion, where they win Pulitzer Prizes for reporting on a story that is blatantly false, that was paid for by Hillary Clinton and the DNC, and nobody really reports on that anymore. And all we hear about is now moving on to the next criminal indictment of Donald Trump, and it's hush money for a porn star. And we know that it's illegal to pay hush money, although this weekend we just learned that Doug Emhoff, the husband of Kamala Harris, impregnated his employee, a nanny that was babysitting his children while he was still married to his wife. And guess what he did after the pregnancy was discovered? He paid hush money to the nanny with an NDA to keep her mouth shut while she did God knows what for that unborn baby. Good Lord, I hope the baby survived. We don't know. But it's okay for him to play hush money. In fact, it's not even hush money when he does it, when he's impregnating his employee. But all we've heard about is hush money to a porn star when it was Donald Trump who got criminally indicted for it. I wonder where Doug accounted for the NDA money he paid to the nanny, who, by the way, is now an executive with Audible, which is owned by Amazon, Jeff Bezos, who also owns the Washington Post. It's amazing how you've gone from babysitter and nanny to executive at Audible. That's a hell of a career leap. My point is, you can't trust the media. You can't trust what they're telling you. You can't trust what they're saying. You can't trust the pictures they're giving you. And it's their fault. They have lost your trust. They have been so exposed in their hatred for you, for daring to ignore them in 2016. They will never get over the fact that they set it up perfectly for Hillary Clinton to win, and you just wouldn't do what you were told. And you exposed them for the frauds that they are, and they have been reeling ever since, and they continue to. Were those pictures in Pittsfield doctored by AI? We don't know. They look fishy. They look crazy. Well, why would a reporter openly advocate for a candidate in the first place? Yeah, good question. Maybe that reporter who's so excited about this rally shouldn't even be reporting on Kamala Harris, and she's clearly in the tank for her. Why is it that every reporter following Kamala Harris around is very happy to be penned into a little room and taking pictures from 2 blocks away from a fundraiser, but if they're covering Donald Trump, they're screaming adversarial accusations from him at him? Why is it the press who follows Kamala Harris is perfectly content with this being now, what, the 2nd week since she's been selected as the nominee, and she still refuses to take a single question from any of them? You just go where you're told, take a picture of the rally and put it out there and make us look good, is what they're told. You have every reason not to believe them. They have earned your distrust. Wallow in your distrust of them. You should openly disdain them for continuing to lie to you until they grovel back and beg you for your patronage, beg you for your trust, and then actually do something and demonstrate some level of integrity to earn your trust back. And by the way, if I ever do that with you, same thing goes with me. The biggest difference between me and MSNBC and this reporter from CNN Washington Post and Jake Tapper and George Stephanopoulos and all of them is that I would never insult your intelligence enough to tell you, hey, you know, I'm just unbiased. I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't have an agenda. I'm completely impartial. I'm completely no. I respect you. We at Town Hall respect you enough to tell you, sure, we have an agenda. This is what we think is the best thing for our country. These are the policies we think are the best for our country. Now, by telling you we have an agenda doesn't mean that we have license to lie to you to support our agenda. No, we still have to deliver facts. You still have to hold us accountable if we get those facts wrong. And we have a responsibility to tell you immediately when we get those facts wrong. They are lying to you from the get-go, from the very moment the camera turns on and they say, we're CNN and we're just here for the facts and the news. They have already begun their relationship with you with a complete and total lie, because you know it's a lie. You know they have an agenda. You know they're rooting for one side, and they refuse to admit it. And until they get over that hump, until they actually get to a point that said, yep, we're the Democrat network over here, and we're doing everything we can to support Democrats, they will never earn your trust. Good. Because as they spiral down the toilet, we are lifted up. All of us, all of my comrades and colleagues who are doing what we do every day with you to deliver you the unvarnished truth. And one other thing, that chat right there that's going on, either underneath or to the side, as I'm talking, and you can talk back to me. And if you think I'm full of you can tell me I'm full of shit. Try doing that with Anderson Cooper. We welcome your comments. We beg you for your comments. We want to interact with your comments. Generally speaking, only the ones that agree with me, but that's okay, because if you disagree, you can let the world know it too. And everyone who's watching this will see how you disagree. And that's beautiful. And they would never even come close to being able to handle that. Let's stick together now. We need each other, because it's going to get even crazier between now and Election Day.